What happens when a single moment of rage on a quiet road spirals into a tragedy no one saw coming? The morning sun hung low over the sleepy suburb of Willow Creek, casting golden rays across the asphalt where Emily Carter pedaled her bike. A 28-year-old barista with a penchant for early rides, Emily loved the rhythm of her tires against the road, the crisp air filling her lungs. Her route wound through tree-lined streets, past manicured lawns and picket fences. Today, though, the peace felt fragile, like a glass teetering on the edge of a table. Karen Mitchell, 42, gripped the steering wheel of her silver SUV, her jaw tight. She was late again. Her daughter's soccer practice had run over, her boss had texted about a missed deadline, and now she was stuck behind a cyclist who, in her mind, was hogging the road. Karen's life was a pressure cooker of PDA meetings, work emails, and a husband who barely looked up from his phone. She didn't hate cyclists, but today, Emily's steady pedaling felt like a personal affront. "Why don't you signal, huh?" Karen muttered, her voice sharp as she leaned forward, peering at Emily through her windshield. Emily, oblivious, was focused on the curve ahead, her hands steady on the handlebars. Karen's fingers twitched on the horn, but she held back. Instead, she accelerated slightly, pulling closer to Emily's rear wheel. Too close. Emily sensed the engine's hum behind her and glanced over her shoulder. No hand signal. She didn't think she needed one on this straight stretch. But Karen saw the glance as defiance. "You think you own the road?" she snapped, though Emily couldn't hear. The SUV surged forward, now inches from Emily's bike. At the intersection ahead, Emily slowed, preparing to turn left. She extended her arm, signaling clearly this time, but Karen's patience had already frayed. "Now you signal? Too late!" she barked, her foot hovering over the gas. In a split-second decision born of frustration, Karen swerved right, intending to pass Emily and cut her off, a petty power play to teach her a lesson. But the road wasn't empty. From a side street, a jogger emerged. Lucas Grant, a 19-year-old college freshman out for his morning run. Earbuds in, he didn't hear the SUV's engine or see Emily's bike. Karen's swerve sent her vehicle careening toward the curb where Lucas was crossing. Emily, caught off guard by the sudden movement, wobbled, her bike tipping dangerously. Tires screeched. Emily's bike skidded, her elbow scraping the pavement as she fought to stay upright. Lucas froze, yanking out an earbud just as the SUV's bumper missed him by inches. Karen slammed on the brakes, her heart pounding, her hands shaking. The world seemed to pause, the air thick with the smell of burnt rubber. Emily, now on the ground, clutched her bleeding elbow, her bike tangled beside her. Lucas stood wide-eyed, his breath ragged. Karen flung open her door, her face a mix of fury and fear. "You didn't signal," she shouted at Emily, pointing an accusing finger. "You could have gotten us all killed." Emily, dazed, pushed herself up. "I signaled. You were tailgating me." Her voice trembled, not just from pain but from the injustice of it all. Lucas, still processing, stepped forward. "Lady, you almost hit me," he said, his tone sharp but unsteady. Karen's eyes darted between them, her mind racing. She hadn't meant for this to happen. She just wanted to make a point. But now, neighbors were stepping onto their porches, phones in hand, filming. A man across the street, Mr. Hensley, a retired cop with a knack for noticing details, was already dialing 911. "You're both lying," Karen snapped, her voice climbing. "I was driving safely. You," she jabbed a finger at Emily, "you're reckless." Her words were desperate, as if saying them loudly enough could rewrite the moment. But the truth was slipping away from her, captured in the shaky videos of onlookers. Enter Maria Delgado, a quiet 50-year-old widow who lived at the corner. Maria had been watering her roses when the chaos unfolded. She wasn't one to get involved. Grief over her husband's death 2 years prior had made her a recluse, but something about Karen's accusations stirred her. Maria had seen everything. The SUV's aggressive tailgating, the reckless swerve, the near miss with Lucas. She stepped forward, her voice calm but firm. "That's not what happened." Maria said, her dark eyes locking onto Karen's. You were too close. You swerved on purpose. Karen's face flushed. Who are you? You don't know what you're talking about. But Maria's steady gaze held weight, and the crowd murmured. Mr. Hensley, still on the phone with the police, nodded at Maria, confirming her account. The police arrived within minutes, their sirens cutting through the tension. Officer Patel, a seasoned cop with a no-nonsense demeanor, took statements. Emily, her arm now bandaged by a neighbor, recounted her side, her voice steady despite the pain. Lucas, shaken but articulate, backed her up. Maria's testimony, quiet but unshakable, sealed the narrative. Karen, cornered, doubled down, insisting Emily's failure to signal caused it all. But the videos told a different story. Mr. Hensley's footage, clear as day, showed Karen's SUV tailgating, then swerving dangerously. The evidence was undeniable. Officer Patel approached Karen, his expression grim. Ma'am, you're being charged with reckless driving and endangerment. You'll need to come with us. Karen's world tilted. Charged? Me? But her voice broke, tears welling. She looked at Emily, then Lucas, then the crowd, searching for an ally. There was none. Her anger, her need to be right, had led her here. As Karen was led to the patrol car, Emily sat on the curb, her bike propped against a tree. Lucas lingered nearby, offering her a water bottle. You okay? He asked softly. Emily nodded, but her eyes were distant. She'd ridden this route 100 times, never imagining it could end like this. Maria watched from her porch, her roses forgotten. She hadn't spoken up in years, not since her husband's funeral. But today something had shifted. She'd seen too much pain to stay silent. Her quiet courage had changed the story's course, a twist no one expected from the reclusive widow. Days later, Karen sat in a holding cell, awaiting her hearing. The charge wasn't just a finite could mean jail time. Her husband had barely spoken to her, her daughter confused and angry. The community, once her domain of PDA power plays, now whispered about her downfall. Karen replayed the moment in her mind. The cyclist, the jogger, the swerve. She'd only wanted to prove a point. How had it gone so wrong? Emily, meanwhile, couldn't ride anymore. The scrape on her elbow would heal, but the fear lingered. Every car engine made her flinch. Lucas, too, stopped running, haunted by the near miss. Maria returned to her roses, but she started waving to neighbors again, her heart a little lighter. The trial came swiftly. Karen pleaded guilty, hoping for leniency. The judge, a stern woman with tired eyes, looked at the videos, heard the testimonies, and saw the wreckage of lives touched by one reckless moment. Karen was sentenced to 6 months in jail and community service, her license suspended. As she was led away, Karen looked back at the courtroom. Emily wasn't there, chosen not to come, wanting to move on. Lucas was, though, his gaze steady but not vengeful. Maria sat in the back, her presence a quiet reminder of truth's weight. Karen's life unraveled in that cell. Her marriage crumbled, her daughter grew distant, and her name became a cautionary tale in Willow Creek. She'd been so sure she was right, so quick to judge. But the road didn't care about her anger, and neither did fate. Emily eventually rode again, but never on that street. Lucas took up swimming instead, finding peace in the water's rhythm. Maria, the unexpected hero, started a community garden, her roses blooming brighter than ever. And Karen? She sat alone, replaying that morning, wondering how one moment of rage could cost so much. The road had been quiet, the sun golden, but some mistakes cast shadows that never fade. Nd.